morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. It's Bear here. And I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, A Box With No Lid. A channel dedicated to not only raising and bringing awareness to the complexities of trauma and the day-to-day realities of it, but also really starting to delve in meaningful ways to heal. Now, this is the part two, the follow-on from some of the many reasons why we need awareness and pacing ourselves to truly heal. Now, in the last video, as I was talking about the muscle memory, these learned responses that we have once our neurophysiological self has hit that stall point, once our body goes, I don't know what to do, follow the instructions. When we hit that point, that's where we can do steps to heal. One of the first things, when we look at healing our neurophysiological responses, we need to do them how we learned them from infancy to adulthood. And that is the way to understand this. When we're born into a healthy home, a healthy, loving environment, into our biological home, and it's positive, the first interactions an infant have are with the primary caregivers, the mom and dad, and any siblings, and the immediate circle. And then as the kid goes into a toddler, these interactions get with more people, and there's layers. There's the little one that you wave to across, the supermarket carts, to your best friend next door coming over. There's preschool and primary schools, and there's all these layers of interactions and their meanings, all these layers of interplay. And that's what teaches our neurophysiological, our nervous system, our body, those interplays and the layers that are appropriate, and the layers that create the depth of real, meaningful connections. So if you grow up in a loving childhood, you develop them to the degree where you have a personality and a neurological structure to flourish and to create wonderful ecologies. Now, if you go through, early childhood or preverbal trauma, those never develop because the environment's not there and the trauma shuts all that down. If you've gone through significant enough trauma to go to free state later on, all those structures are packed away because they didn't protect you. And your body is dominated by the trauma responses and the survival from those trauma responses. So when we go through trauma, especially the more complicated, the multiple type, multiple event, whatever our body developed to survive becomes muscle memory. It becomes what we do to survive. That is what we need to heal, because when we hit that stall point, those neurophysiological instructions are what kick in. And that point is where we can start to put things into place. Now, one of the first little things is how we test the waters. And that's why learning a trauma vocabulary. It's learning a way that you can, with a little bit of information, gauge enough of a return to go, is this worth going a little further? And what I mean by this is, okay, you're talking with someone and you stall and you don't know your body doesn't know what to do, and you start to get triggered. You start hunting for things to say. You start hunting for things to do. You're trying to make this work. That's what I mean by a stall point. It's not natural. It's not flowing. You're looking for instructions. And the instructions we always turn to is our trauma response. Well, at that point, if you have developed a trauma vocabulary, and I mean it's going to where you test the waters with that person, they're going, well, look, I have a trauma history and I'm struggling a little bit at the moment. Please, can we just pick a subject, pick something to talk about other than what we are? And if they go, oh yeah, no problem. Oh yeah, let's, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. If they pursue the engagement, then you can explore it further. and you work through it. It's turning this into a more positive outcome. If they start to back off, freak out, shut down, whatever, then you just say, oh, thank you, and you leave. There's no point in pushing the instructions because all you are doing is feeding the depth of shutdown, the depth of that continuous cycle of reenactment. When we, to heal this stuff, we need to have loads of positive physical experiences of interactions on all different levels. From those really cute and cool 5 or 6 second ones at a shop counter paying for money, where you crack a joke, they laugh. They crack a joke, you laugh. Thank you so much, awesome, leave. Where a shopkeeper remembers your name, and you have those little short, loads of them, but also loads of more in-depth ones. Because when our interactions get real is when we stall, is when we hunt for instructions. And the whole goal of this is we need to learn all those layers of interplay that we would have learned from our childhood, from infancy to adolescence, in a healthy environment. So keeping that in mind, it's learning this and teaching your body to interact and to respond, to have this to and fro, to build connections and to grow bonds of friendship and love and so forth, to create this ecology of community on the path to belonging. That is how you heal this stuff. That is how you heal trauma. And the thing of it is to be really kind with yourself, because you're not broken. I struggle with this all the time. Every interaction, I'm working on this, trying to create as many positives as I can to teach my body to respond. My early childhood or my childhood was pretty messed up, and I never learned. The majority of my interactions were in a cupboard by myself in the dark. I never learned the interplay. And I've learned over the years of being around trauma and seeing how it plays out in all these different forms in people, how important it is. And as I said, the concept of healing it is quite simple. We just need to create as many positive interactions as we can in all the different layers to heal it, till we get it sufficient enough for our body to go, I've got this, and it becomes natural. The challenge lies in physically doing it, especially in this world. So this is where the pacing yourself, using your awareness. This is not finding reasons to not do it. It's using your awareness to choose smart where and when. And that's where developing a trauma vocabulary, those few words, the test of waters of, is this person seriously seeking a meaningful conversation or a meaningful interaction right now? It's discovering people's agendas and their empathies and all of this stuff in ways that are not triggering to our trauma response. This is not just about having constantly happy interactions. As I said, a key part of developing this is learning problem solving. It's learning the cutoff points of this is the depth this interaction or this connection is going to be, which is what we learn growing up. It's relearning this skill and creating an environment safe enough where you have enough control and enough of a back door to safely engage, dipping your toe in, dipping it out, dipping it in, dipping it out, dipping it in, dipping it out, dipping your foot in, dipping it out. Slowly but surely, titrating as it's used in somatics. It's learning this and developing this so your neurology develops the interactions and the ways of assessing that are secure, the ways of assessing that are productive and positive. As I said, exactly how a child does. So it's not complicated, it's just takes time, takes patience. So as always, I welcome your questions, and please be mindful of this. You push too hard, it's going to bite you in the butt. Don't push enough, it ain't going to happen. It's working, and that balance point is always going to change. So it's being aware and actually working with this. Be kind, be gentle, and I'll see you next time. Hope.